How's it going, everybody? I'm Brooks,
And I'm Joe.
and this is another episode of Cantina Reviews.
Today we are ranking all of the Spider-Man movies.
Boom!
That guy.
Those things.
Yeah.
So we recently just saw Into the Spider-Verse. We also recently just did the review of that movie as well.
Yes.
So in hopes that they make more movies like that, we
Yeah.
started talking about the other movies and figured it would be a good idea to do a ranking of past movies.
Yeah, from worst to best.
Worstest to bestest.
Yes.
And which one we got first, Joe? Being
Up
the
first,
worst.
The worst Spider-Man movie. The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Whoa.
Not so amazing.
It was not.
Um,
That kind of whole little trilogy there was kind of not the most amazing.
It wasn't even a trilogy. They failed on that front as well.
Oh yeah. See, that's the thing. Because there's so many. They tried this so many times to
Yeah.
make Spider-Man good. I'm mixing them all up.
That whole little escapade, I guess, was like so weird because like the Raimi films didn't end that long ago. Mm-hmm. Now they're rebooting it with Andrew Garfield.
That's why I was like, oh, this is the one that like, not that we grew up with, but the ones that like we grew up watching in like high school.
right.
And stuff.
But I feel like we were never able to really take to it because like we grew up more with the Raimi films.
Yeah.
There wasn't like enough time in between for like the new generation
to be like a true reboot.
like-
to be like, oh,
oh, we're the generation that likes Amazing Spider-Man. It's kind of like how like you have the Star Wars prequel kids.
yeah,
That grew up on the prequels. Mm-hmm. You don't have that with this. So it was like this
Yeah, no.
random reboot that wasn't like no one asked for or expected.
yeah, it just happened. And see, that's why I'm mixing them up. So yeah, clearly it was not that good.
And what was always strikes me so weird about this one is the main problem that everyone really had with Spider-Man 3 in the Raimi trilogy was that it packed so many villains into it and was kind of just a jumbled mess.
And then what'd
they
they do?
did the exact same thing.
Nuts.
Like I don't understand why. What
You know,
how
what do you
could
get out
do
of
the
it?
same thing twice?
Yeah,
It literally like less than 5 years apart it had to be.
insanity.
Yeah.
Keep doing the same thing
Right,
without
yeah.
expecting a different outcome.
Right. Let's just do it again with better CGI.
Yeah.
So that's what was weird about that. I never really took to Andrew Garfield as Peter Parker either.
Mm-hmm.
He was kind of just like a dick.
Mm.
So that was weird. He was like cool Spider-Man, but not really a good Peter Parker.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yep.
moving on. Believe it or not, up next
Yes.
is The Amazing Spider-Man 1.
Whoa.
Which is significantly better than 2.
Yes.
And some people would
But
say...
not quite enough to be really good.
Right. I would guess that a lot of people would say it's better than Spider-Man 3. But for me, there's a more nostalgia with the original trilogy.
Yeah, the one that kind of,
Was the first.
yeah.
You know, so like this
And a
one...
very long line.
Right. This was just like a weird why.
Yeah.
And like it was like the lizard and that was it. And yeah, it was like, okay.
Yeah. Not one of the best.
Right. And it's not something I really go back to ever.
Right, yeah.
I think I've seen it like twice and like I was good.
Yeah, and I'm like, you know what? I'll watch Homecoming.
Yeah. Up next,
Yes.
Spider-Man 3.
Not Homecoming.
Yeah, not Homecoming. Spider-Man 3,
cool picture.
May 4th. That is a cool picture.
May the 4th be with you. Why'd they do that? Interesting.
It was before Star Wars was back.
Oh, yeah, before I was back in action.
Yeah. Well, anyway, yeah, this is definitely, obviously we have it last out of the original 3.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of a mess because of that villain problem.
Yes.
It has that, infamous Peter Parker dancing in a street thing.
Yeah, as an emo.
Yeah, the emo Peter
It was
Parker.
great.
Yeah,
Loved it.
I still kind of like this movie. I think there's definitely good aspects of it.
Mhm.
It's pretty goofy, but like,
Oh, yeah.
I don't hate it.
No.
I'll watch it.
Yeah, I thought it was, it was cool because it was like we saw like Venom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we saw it
Mhm.
after like knowing the Spider-Man villains.
Yeah,
We finally get to see him, and I thought that was, in my opinion, why it was a little bit better than the rest.
yeah,
Just because the villain, the one out of 80,000 villains, was cool.
yeah, yeah. And like the Sandman stuff was kind of good too. Like they probably could have just had the Sandman be the villain.
Yeah.
And maybe
Well, it's
held
good
off
because,
on
like, with
Venom.
Sandman, it's like they gave a good backstory.
Really good
you kind of
backstory.
feel for him at the same time. He was, like, now that I think about it, probably one of the first few villains that, like, at that time were the kind of, like, oh, I'm sympathetic for him a little bit. You know what I mean? Where it's like, I kind of understand where he's coming from.
Right.
You know what I mean? You don't agree with the means, but like you agree with like his feeling. You know what I mean?
Also, James Franco is just crazy in this movie.
Yeah. Which kind of, I think he kept going after this movie with that in his normal life.
Yeah.
From what it seems
he
like.
became the Green Goblin and never went back. Up next is Spider-Man 1, which seems weird. I would say there's a pretty big change, like big jump in quality here.
Yeah, definitely.
I still really like Spider-Man 1. It's probably the beginning of the modern superhero movie as we know it.
Yeah.
Definitely a whole bunch of cheese when you like watch it back now.
Oh, yeah,
But
yeah.
like, I like that.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I loved it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's fun, and Willem Dafoe as the Green Goblin is just great.
Yeah.
So over the top, but like, I just like it. Up next is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, the new one, which was great.
Yes. Very good.
Very well done. I didn't really have any issue with it.
No, and I thought it was going to not fail, but I feel like it was going to fall. I felt like it was going to like fall short because it was animated, and we've always seen like a live action Spider-Man normally.
In the big theater.
Right, yeah. Like in the big movie screen, like when we go to see a movie, we're seeing like a live action movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, because it was animated, I think that's why it made it a reason of why it was great.
They not only like pushed the animatronics, they not only like pushed the animation like as much as they could into new areas and used it so well, but also there was great story, great acting, great comedic timing, like everything worked really well.
It was very
and
well
like
done.
you got into the idea of Miles Morales as Spider-Man,
Right.
as like his own distinct version of the character, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, and then going back to the too many villains thing, there was like a good handful of villains in here, but it was so well done that it wasn't too many.
Right, it didn't feel overstuffed.
And
a
they didn't
movie
feel rushed.
A movie that was overstuffed. There's like five Spider-Man and there's like a million villains. There's like a million villains, but like it just, the pacing kept it going.
It worked, it worked very, very well.
Yeah, and I think, the fact that it's animated helps with that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That would have felt like Infinity War.
It was much lighter.
Yeah.
And then even then, like the emotional parts like work.
Yeah, between like Miles and his father, Miles and his uncle, even like the other
even between the other Spider-Man.
The other version of Peter Parker.
And you're like, you're not ready, and he's like, and then you're like,
yeah,
crazy stuff.
Yeah. Good stuff, really good. Up next, Spider-Man: Homecoming, the MCU Spider-Man.
Yes.
I really enjoy this movie. It is pretty light. It's really funny.
Yeah.
But what sells me on it completely is Michael Keaton as the Vulture, who we have talked about many times on here.
Oh yes.
But so good.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Like he just played it so well because once again he was that one villain, which I feel like we talked about that too. Like that was when it really started the sympathetic villain type stuff.
Right, like it had reached that point of where like everyone's like, wow, Marvel's really good, but they have terrible villains. And you look to like Killmonger and Black Panther was a big turning point, but I feel like even before that, like Michael Keaton's Vulture started laying that foundation.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Of like a villain with a cool story and like someone you kind of can see where they're coming
Yeah, like it made
from.
you care about the villain a little bit, not just like, oh, he's fighting the villain. It's like, oh my god, like
where it's like, well, he's not completely wrong. He's just doing it in the wrong way.
Right.
I don't really want him to die because he's not terrible.
Yeah, exactly.
But at the same time, he could be a pretty menacing villain. Like look at that scene in the car with him and Peter.
Right.
So good. So tense.
Yeah, because like the movie is like, comedic and everything like that, and it's very well done. And then that happens, you're like, oh my god, there's so much depth and like emotion in this movie.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I think that is like going to be really good to be like the keystone for the rest of what they're going to do with that Spider-Man and everything.
This MCU Spider, like I'd like to see how they build on that. There's so many great Spider-Man villains.
And I think Tom Holland's like a great Spider-Man, especially because we're seeing him so young.
I like
they can keep it, going where we see him grow as Spider-Man.
We're actually seeing like a Spider-Man in high school that feels like a student.
Right.
Like it feels like a kid. There's definitely younger actors going on. Like it's not like the original trilogy where they're all like 30.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's
they're all grad students.
Disconnect there. But like, here it's like it seems like a bunch of kids, and he just plays that light, quippy, funny, kind of like annoying.
Yeah, like ignorance is bliss type of thing. Like, oh, if we're all using our fake names.
Right. Yeah. So really good. Looking forward to the next one. This year. Yeah.
No doubt.
Number 1 is Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Dr. Octopus.
Yeah. The Godfather of superhero films.
Essentially.
The Citizen Kane.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
man.
people really love this movie, and I think
Mhm.
for good reason.
Yeah.
It built off the first one in like a good way, as far as like getting more into the emotional character like depth
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the way the beats play out are kind of similar to the first one and the third one, but like
Mhm.
I don't know, it was just like very well. The pacing is good. The setup is
Yeah.
good. And I liked Doctor Octopus.
Mhm.
I liked some really great action scenes.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
I would say like that whole like fight when they're going from like the building to the subway,
Mhm.
and then he stops the subway car. Like it's pretty
Yeah.
iconic at this point. And
Oh yeah.
even what like I've seen the movie for years, but like watching back in the scene where he passes out and they're carrying him in the subway.
Yeah.
It's a pretty great scene.
Oh yeah, definitely. But yeah, I was gonna say when I think of like Spider-Man, like I think of those movies and like this movie and the first one like specifically,
Yeah.
just because like the ones now are so new.
Yeah.
But I feel like when people say like talk about Spider-Man or think about Spider-Man, like anything like that, like I'm thinking of that,
Yeah.
those two. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's my Spider-Man. You know what I mean? And the new ones are just getting better
Yeah, they are.
off of that.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, but this one is always that core one. I
Right.
think that will always be remembered as like one of the
Mhm.
first like great live action superhero movies.
Yeah, like I would say like this Spider-Man is what made Spider-Man the Spider-Man that we all think of. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like yeah, you had the comic books and everything like that, and it's like people knew Spider-Man, but like the true like like Spider-Man that moves and fights and lives and everything like that
Right.
was like that
Yeah,
trilogy.
there's
I
certainly
feel.
like a whole generation that, when you think Spider-Man, that's what comes to mind. 'Cause
Yeah.
that was probably like some of your first exposure to it.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Very good. So yeah. Definitely keep an eye out for more things.
Yeah.
Marvel.
Let us know how you would rank the Spider-Man movies, Paul.
Ooh.
Tell us how wrong we were.
Yes,
Yeah.
because people love doing that apparently. But yeah, definitely keep an eye out for more videos on the way. Subscribe. Follow us on all the social medias.
That's right.
Once again, I'm Brooks,
I'm Joe.
and this has been another episode of Cantina Reviews. So yeah, we recently saw Into the Spider-Verse.
And-
We also...
Complete your sentence.
Um,
I'm Joe.
and this is another episode of Cantina Reviews.
Today we're talking. Today we are ranking.